What's up, everybody? It's your main man, and I'm back again. Your boy Brooklyn Mclinn. We're gonna keep going. My book of favorite quotes: 30-day transformation to becoming a better you. We up to quote number 15. Man, I'm at the beach, man, and I'm on a little vacation. I just didn't feel like really doing nothing this week, so I don't consider this nothing, but like I didn't feel the need to have to be anywhere, to have to do anything. I'm just like, I'm gonna do exactly what I want to do today, and it's such a great day out here in California, Los Angeles. I know you can hear the waves in the background. You probably can catch a few of them behind me. I'm at Santa Monica Beach, 75 degrees in Cali in February. Like, can't beat that. Computer's sitting in my lap, so if it shakes, that's why. But yeah, man, we gonna keep this thing going. Be up to quote number 15. And what would a book of quotes be without a quote about fear? So fear is probably one of the most prominent issues that we deal with day to day in trying to accomplish anything. It's like fear. What holds us back? What are we afraid of? So this is a quote about fear. It's really an acronym on how you can look at fear. So it's a couple of ways. Fear, F.E.A.R. Forget everything and run. F.E.A.R. Fear, forget everything and run, or face everything and rise. Fear. You got two choices: forget everything and run, or face everything and rise. And that's by unknown. So we're going to read. The dictionary defines fear as a distressing emotion aroused by impending danger, evil, or pain, whether the threat is real or imagined. I personally define fear as just a lack of information and understanding. Whether it's people from different cultures, people with different economic backgrounds, or people with different religions and political views. Differences are what make us unique. If we could accept this and make room for everyone, there would definitely be more harmony than disharmony. But when we perceive differences to be a threat to the individual or to the group's stability and security, we become fearful. We want to either exclude it or attack it and destroy it. We see evidence of this every day in the world. One people hating another people for skin color reasons, or people of the same origin hating each other for differences in community infrastructure. When we take the time to inform ourselves about any subject, any discomfort ceases to exist. Think about when the AIDS virus became headline news, and I, for one, was very afraid of contracting it and dying. But over the years, as more information has been revealed, as advances in medicine and technology have shown us, it is something that can be handled and kept under control. And you can't get it simply from hugging or shaking someone's hand that has it. It's not this scary monster that it was 20 years ago. There are several examples we could draw from that once we've gotten through it, we look back and think, if I had have known why, then X wouldn't have seemed so scary to begin with. Information and understanding are empowering. They give you confidence and courage to face everything and rise, up to the challenges and obstacles we ultimately are going to face. If we can learn to love the process of not knowing to knowing, and understanding that we will never know it all. The joy and beauty is that we can learn something new every day. Otherwise, the option is forget everything and run, which I will never judge a person for, because I make room for everyone and would just be an example for those people that you too can't overcome your fear with the information and understanding. One thing I used to fear was intimacy, the closeness that you share when you become totally vulnerable with someone. They know you're ugly and you know theirs. I feared it because the pain I associated with my father's death was so severe. I never want to feel that close to someone and then they go away. I was left feeling abandoned and unwanted. It was something I had to take a look at within myself because I wanted to be in a loving, intimate relationship. I recognized the contradiction in my desire and what I was actually doing. I spent years trying to be in relationships while withholding a piece of myself that I could protect in case that person decided they didn't want to be with me anymore. I see that I was trying to protect the boy inside of me whose daddy had died. The only way out of this was to look at these feelings without judgment, decide I wanted a different outcome, and learn the necessary steps to make it so. I would have to learn to be more vulnerable and understand that with anything there is a potential of being hurt. It is only when I make that my focus do I fail to see the benefits of being completely intimate with someone. The benefits are deep companionship and true unconditional love. I was able to overcome this fear by facing it and rising, gaining the necessary information to feel comfortable in what used to be an uncomfortable situation. Here is an action step. Write down one thing you fear and why. Don't judge your answer, and please be totally honest with yourself. Then set out to gather as much information and understanding as you can about it and see if it doesn't release the fear, and then you can go after it. Start with something small and build your muscle for overcoming things that you fear. Good luck. That's number 15. Fear. Forget everything and run, or face everything and rise. It's your choice. And that's by Unknown. So let's reflect a little bit. Everybody faces fear, man. Everybody deals with fear. There's nothing wrong with you because you fear, right? It's a human emotion to be afraid of things. Now, what I've learned is we have to have the distinction whether or not the fear is real or imagined, because there are some real fears. You know, people have fear of heights, fear of being, you know, murdered or killed or dead, or fear of losing your, like, they're legitimate fears. Like, I'm not trying to say you should never fear anything. What I am saying is we need to decide if the fear is real or is it imagined, right? Because we all have, a mechanism inside of us that is called the fight or flight syndrome. And it's a hormone that is released when we're in imminent danger. Like, the body perceives imminent, we're getting ready to get attacked by a lion. Like, that's real. There's nothing imagined about that fear, and the body's response to it is to take off and run, right? Instinctively, the body is going to go into self-preservation, right? It's going to try to preserve itself, so it's going to run. It's going to, fight back. It's going to do whatever it has to do to try to survive. The key is that span of time is only supposed to be for seconds or a couple of minutes. It's not a mechanism that we're supposed to be living in. It's not a prolonged mechanism, right? It's quick. It happens. And then our body returns back to its normal status. But now, what if the fear is imagined, right? A lot of us have fear of the future. A lot of us have fear of, like me, intimacy and relationships. And yeah, we can justify it through past hurts and pains, or just the fact that we don't know what's coming, right? The future. But is that real? Or is that imagined? Because we actually have the power to determine our future. Our future is going to look like how you feel right now. And in this moment, right here, right now, there's nothing to fear, right? In my present moment, I'm talking to you, I'm recording a video, I'm sitting at the beach on a 75-degree day. The ocean is beautiful, there's people out, like, that's my present moment. But as I'm talking to you and the seconds are ticking away, it becomes the future. So I can control how I feel in the present moment, and the next moment, and the next moment, and the next now, and the next now. That will dictate and determine what my future looks like. Okay? Can some type of stimulus come in and change that? Yeah. But once again, I got to decide, is that fear real or is it imagined? A lot of us have imaginary fears. And then once we get through it, we're like, oh, it wasn't that bad. And a lot of us have real fears, right? But we have to learn to discern between real and imagined. Okay? I've dealt with fear of abandonment, fear of intimacy, fear of the future, fear of dying young, fear of not having enough money, fear of not being enough, so low self-esteem. And I've just learned to face those fears. Susan Jeffers has a great book called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. A lot of great motivational speakers will tell you the only difference between, quote unquote, successful people and unsuccessful people is that everybody feels fear. Successful people feel the fear and do it anyway. Quote unquote, unsuccessful people feel the fear and we let that paralyze us. So fear is like fear of love. Like it's so many different fears. And once again, I'm not telling you that you should never feel fear. I feel fear all the time. But I've learned to face the fear, go into the storm, because, and this too shall pass. Nothing lasts forever, right? Successes don't last forever, and neither do failures, right? Everything has its life cycle. Relationships, everything has a life cycle. So I've learned to treat things as such, right? So when one door closes, I know another door is going to open. And it doesn't mean like, oh, well, you got 1 foot in, 1 foot out. No, I'm 100% committed to whatever it is I'm doing, but when it's over, it's over. It's like a great movie. It's 2 hours, 3 hours, however long the movie is. At some point, it's going to end. Great things come to an end. Bad things come to an end. Everything comes to an end. And it's a part of the life cycle, so it's nothing to fear because now we have the information. The unknown has become known, so now there's nothing to fear. A lot of us fear dying because we don't know what's on the other side. It's the unknown. If we knew that life after this physical experience was way more joyous than what we're doing right now, a lot of us wouldn't fear dying. In fact, some of us will go ahead and take our own lives in anticipation to get to that next one. But I'm like, well, if I know that something better for me is waiting on the other side, then I'm going to experience everything I can in this life in anticipation for the next one. I'm not going to suffer here because I'm going to benefit there. I'm going to benefit here and I'm going to benefit there. I'm going to get the best out of whatever it is that I'm doing and then look forward to the next thing and getting the best out of the next thing, understanding that at some point it ends. So there's no need to fear that. So I think fear can be alleviated with information and understanding and compassion. And we've seen it. But because our society keeps us in our fight or flight syndrome, it keeps us worried about our survival. And most of us have been conditioned to live in survival mode. There's no growth when you're in survival mode, right? This is scientific. So our bodies can't grow, they can't expand in survival mode because we're just worried about that. Living check to check, meal to meal, just month to month, like it's just survive. We're not here to just survive, we're here to thrive and be prosperous. So I hope this is resonating with you. Once again, I'm not saying to never feel fear. It's a natural human emotion. So just to recap, either we got to decide if the fear is real or imagined. And two, if the fear is just fear of the unknown, then let's go out and find that information. Right? So Me, as far as relationships, you know, see a girl, want to go up and say hi, and then the fear of rejection kicks in. What if she tells you to get out of her face? What if she ignores you? So is that real or imagined? Now, I could argue that it's real. Well, I've had experiences where I went up to women and they've ignored me. But I've also had experiences when I went up to women and they did ignore me. So there's no guarantee it's going to be either or. What's my intention going up to her? Do I have goodwill in my heart, or do I have malice in my heart? Well, if I know I got goodwill and I go up to her interested and wanting to say hi, whatever, and she turns me down, I just look at it like that's a door that closes, another door has to open. Right? When before, I would let that rejection hinder me from the next opportunity. But that's not what no means. No doesn't mean don't ever do it again. No means do it somewhere else. Okay? So I hope that makes sense. Fear, face everything and rise, or forget everything and run. Is fear real or imagined? And can we resolve our fear with information? Can we make the unknown known? All right? All right, y'all. My book of favorite quotes. It's your boy Brooklyn Mclinn coming to you from Santa Monica Beach. Go ahead and take a look at that. Don't be jealous. Don't be envious. You in LA, you in Cali, this is available to you too. Sometimes you just gotta do for yourself, get away. I'm just gonna go walk by the water, but I wanted to get this video done. And hey man, have a beautiful day. Peace.